Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Sandeep from Tutorial Brain, and in this video lesson I'm going to show some of you, in fact I'm going to show all of you about a very powerful topic, which is brackets extensions. Before we get started, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification bell icon. So we know that this particular option here, so this icon is for extension manager, or you can just go to file and you can just click here to go to extension manager. Now extension manager is the area from where you can manage all the extensions. Now basically, what are extensions? So any code editor by itself is not extremely powerful. Okay, now to make it very powerful, what you have to do is you have to install some extensions on that. So extensions are like plugins. So say you want to code faster in HTML, then you can install an extension called Emmet. Similarly, say you want to indent the HTML codes, then you can install an extension called Beautify. In that way, there are a lot of extensions which will help you in your HTML, CSS and JavaScript coding. In fact, it will also help you in your PHP coding as well, right? So let me just click here, and you see that here we have four options, right? So available, themes, install and default. Now available are all the extensions which are available in brackets at this point of time. Now themes are the collection of themes, and whatever extensions you have installed will be shown inside this installed. So the first one we have is Emmet. Okay, so if I just search here Emmet, this particular extension is one of the best extension, and in fact this particular extension can be used in other code editors as well. For example, you can use it in Sublime Text or Atom or Visual Studio Code. If you want more details about this particular extension, you can just click on this more info. Okay, so let me just click here, and this leads me to this particular site, that is emmet.io. so you can see here, and you can also see the demo how it works. So at this moment, let me just come back to this brackets and just click on install. Since I have already installed, that is the reason this particular option is disabled. And once you install, here you'll see an option for Emmet, and these are all the shortcuts using which you can code much faster. Now suppose if I just open my index.html, and suppose I want to create an HTML file with some content. Now normally what happens is we have to write the skeleton of the HTML by ourselves manually, right? Now if you use Emmet, you just notice if I just give exclamation mark and then tab, it has automatically created the skeleton for us, right? We don't have to manually type all this. So other ways, let me just delete it, and if I just go to Emmet, you see that to expand abbreviation, the syntax is, or the shortcut is Control Alt Enter. Okay, so let me just give exclamation mark and then Control Alt Enter, and you see that it has created the skeleton. So personally, I always prefer tab, so that is the reason I'll just give here exclamation mark followed by tab. Now you can use Emmet in other ways as well. For example, suppose if you want to create an unordered list with some items, say at this moment I just want one item. If I just give ul, then greater than symbol and ally, and I just press tab in my keyboard, you see that it has automatically created this particular list, right? So let me just say here Java, or let me just copy it and let me just say here C. Okay, let me just open this live preview to show you that these changes will be visible in the browser as well. Okay, so these are all visible, and suppose now what I want is, let's say I have a container. So I have a container, inside that I have an unordered list, and I want list of items. Say I want some 10 items. If I just click tab, you see that it has created a container. Inside that we have ul, and then we have list of items, right? So in this way we can use Emmet. So I have a complete video series about Emmet, since Emmet is extremely powerful and it can be used in other code editors as well. So if you want to explore further on Emmet, you can just visit our video series about Emmet, and I will definitely recommend all of you to visit that, because it is definitely under my top 2 extensions and brackets. Even if you code in other code editor, it will be a must to have extension. So that is the reason we have created an entire video series about Emmet. So let me just save this file. And the next extension which I want to refer is Beautify. So let me just search here, Beautify. So this is the particular extension. Now, since I have already installed it, so you can just see that in particular folder, that is this install folder, Beautify extension is already there. Let me just enable it, because I had disabled it due to some reason. So let me just enable it and hold for some time, and it has enabled now. So what Beautify does is it will organize your code. So let's assume that you have written this code and you have not properly indented. For example, I have something like this, and let me just try to shift it somewhere here. Now if I just select this entire code, and if I just go to this particular option, that is this particular icon, and if I just click on this Beautify, you see that it has automatically organized the code again. You can see that this particular layout is now indented and it looks neat and clean, right? So this is again a very good extension. Now the shortcut for this is, for example, let me just give Control Z, and suppose I want to indent it using shortcut. So in Windows the shortcut is Control Shift and L. So let me just select the entire file and I'll just give Control Shift and L, and you see that this is now neat and clean, right? In Mac this is Command Shift L. In most of the cases Control will be replaced by Command in Mac. The other option is, like here you would be having somewhere Beautify. I think it will be somewhere here. Yeah, you can see that you have this option, that is Beautify. So for example, let me just give Control Z. Okay, so let me just select this file, and if I just go to edit and Beautify, you see that now it is organized. Or there is other option, that is Beautify on save. So if you see here, you have Beautify on save as well, right? So if I just click here, you see that if I just save it, automatically this file will be intended properly, right? So this particular option I have enabled. So apart from these 2 extensions, we have other extensions, and if I just go to this extension manager, the next extension which we have is brackets git. So brackets git is another powerful extension which will help you to integrate the brackets code editor with Git. And we know that Git is a very good version control system where you can have history of your source code, right? So if I just search here brackets Git, and let me just come down, I'm not sure why it is not showing me this. Let me just search with Git. Here I should have brackets Git. Okay, yes, you can see here this particular extension. So you can just click on this to install. So I'm not going to show any integration of brackets with Git. So I just wanted to show you. And if you are using Git in your system, or if you want to integrate your code with Git, you can just install this extension. It will make your life easy. Now the next extension we have is brackets icons. So if I just search here brackets icon, so one popular extension is brackets tree icons, and the other one which we have is bracket icons. So both are good, but I'm going to install this particular extension, that is bracket icons by Evo Gabby Wolf. Okay, so let me just click here, and what this particular extension will do is it will add icons in front of our files, so that you will be able to recognize your file easily. So what I mean is, I just close here. You see that there is an icon here, and first let me do one thing. Let me just go to debug and let me just reload without extension. So if I just reload this brackets code editor without extensions, what you are going to notice now is that we have this file name, right? Suppose if I just open this file name as well, or this file name. So all these working file names you see here, there is no icon present for each of the files. Now let me just try to reload with extensions. Okay, now you just see here that once we have installed this extension, that is brackets icons, you see that for each file we have some icons. So for HTML it is showing opening and closing of tags, and then for jQuery it is showing curly braces, and for style.css it is showing as hash symbol, right? So these icons always help to recognize the type of file in an easier way. So these icons are currently from the Ionicons project. So if you want to have more detail about this, you can just go to the particular bracket icons link page. So what I mean is, you can just go to your installed and you can just click on this more info and you can just see the details here. So this is the particular page I'm talking about, and you can just see all the details about this particular extension on this particular page. All right, now let's come back again, and the next extension which we are going to see is called custom work. Okay, so if I just give custom work, I have to just click on available first. Okay, and then I have to give custom work. So this is the particular extension I'm talking about, and this particular extension will help you to show your files and folders on the top. So if you use this particular plugin, it has so many options, like you can hide your files folders, or you can hide your tabs. So if you are active files, so it will show at the top. You can just shift from here and there. For example, you can just have vertical panel, horizontal panel, and so on. So let me just click on install. So let us just wait for until it is installed, and it is asking you about few options. So all these important options are already checked, and if you want anything extra, you can just see here all the details. Okay, so at this moment let me just save it. Okay, let me just close it, and now you see that we have all these files here at the top, right? So some of the code editors, what they do is they show all the files at the top. So we have 3 working files which are present in the left side, right? So let me just close it first, second, and third, right? Now if I just open it here, you see that it has shown here as well as here, right? If I open it here, again it is showing at the top, and for style.css again it is showing at the top. So some people, they always like it should show at the top, right? So this custom work plugin is for those people. Now if you just click here, it will hide this particular sidebar. Okay, have you noticed here that the sidebar is hidden? You can just see here. Okay, if I just click here, it is automatically coming. Now if I just click this side, again it has gone, and here if you just click on this, it will again show the tab menu. Okay, so you see here it is showing in this particular side. Now here you have a lot of options, like you can move down or you can move towards your right side, and this particular option is for preference. Okay, so again you can go back here and you can check or uncheck anything. Now let me just close it, and suppose if I just show it here, I have these options, right? Now the next extension which we have is Autoprefixer. So at this moment what I'm going to do is I'll just go to this extension manager and I'll just search for Autoprefixer. So let me just type Autoprefix. You see that I have just given Autoprefix, and this particular extension is shown here. So let me just install this. Now what this particular extension does, it will automatically give you all the vendor related prefix for your code. So let me just close it. So let me do one thing. Let me just go to this file, that is index.html, and so if I just give here link followed by tab, it will create the structure, and my CSS file name is style.css. Let me just save it. Alright, and what I'm going to do now is I'll just go to my style and I'll just give body here, and what I can do is I'll just give here, say, background image, and let me just give linear gradient. Okay, let me just give to right. Okay, and let me select some value, for example RGBA, let's say 250 comma 30 comma 147 comma 1, and again let me just give RGBA, let me just give some value here, for example 200 comma 30 comma, let's give 12 comma 0. Okay, let me just close it. Okay, let me just give a semicolon here. Now you notice that at this moment it is only linear gradient, right? So let me just save it, or if you just go to this edit option before saving, you can see here that we have an option that is auto prefix on save, or we have other options, for example auto prefix when file is changed, or we have auto prefix selection, right? So at this moment let me just give auto prefix on save, and if you just see here, if I just give Ctrl S to save the changes, automatically it has given the vendor prefix, that is WebKit. So this particular vendor prefix, it has automatically generated. Now this is again very helpful, because sometimes what we do is we miss these things. These are small things, but if we miss that, so sometimes our code does not work some of the browsers. So just to avoid that, what we can do is we can just use this particular extension. Now the next extension we have is indent guides. So let me just go to this extension manager, and I'll just click here indent guides. Okay, so indent guides. So if I just come down, I think yes, it is indent guides, right? Now I'm not going to install this particular extension, but I'll just show you that if you just go to this particular link, that is brackets indent guides, you can just read it here, that it will just give you the indent related help. Okay, so you just have to go to view and then indent guides. So you can just see the screenshot as well. Now the next extension which I'm going to show you is called code folding. So let me just give code folding. Okay, so you see that this extension is currently only works with older version of brackets. So what it says is that this particular extension is not working with this current version of brackets. So what it will do is it will just provide a simple code folding option to you, to your brackets. Okay, so either you can expand your files or you can just collapse it. So in a way it will support your tag folding or braces folding or multi-line comment folding. So at this moment, since it is not available, I'm not going to install it. Or if you really want to install it, you can just go to more info, and if you have an older version of brackets, or by the time you're watching this video, and if it is compatible with that particular version of brackets, then you can install it from here. So you can just see that you can just go to brackets file and install extension. So from here anyways we cannot install it. So the other option is you just click on this download button. Okay, and then you just come back to your brackets and just install from that particular URL, or you can just drag your zip file. So once you'll just click on this download button, okay, I'm not going to do it now. Once you just click here, it will open a zip file. So it will download that zip file in your computer, and you can just drag that zip file here, right? So the next set of extension we have is HTML skeleton. Okay, so let me just search for HTML skeleton. I think it should be here. Yes, this is what. Now what happens is, see, if I just install it, let me just install this particular extension first. I'll just show you why some people still prefer to install this extension. So it is taking some time. Now it is completed. Let me just close it. And suppose this was my HTML file, right? Now if I just say, if I just delete it and if I just give exclamation mark and tab, you see that this is the file, or this is the skeleton which is created using Emmet, right? Now let me do one thing first. Let me just go to, for example, let me just go to extension manager and first just disable this custom work. Okay, so first let me just disable the custom work. Okay, yes, here I just want to disable it. Okay, at this moment let me just close it and I'll just save this index.html again. Now what I'm going to show you is this particular HTML extension. Now if you just use Emmet, you see that this is the particular HTML skeleton, right? Now let me just create another file here. So I'll just give here, for example, let me just click on, say, test.html, and if I just click here, this is for HTML skeleton. Now this particular icon has come because we have installed the plugin or extension called HTML skeleton. And if you just click here, you see that it gives you various options. For example, whether you need a basic HTML skeleton. So if I need, I'll just check it. Whether you need a viewport, I will say yes. Whether I need external style sheet, I'll say yes. Say I don't require any inline style sheet, I'll not select this option. If I require an external script, I'll say yes. Inline script, say if I don't require, I'll just say no. I mean, I'll not check this particular option. And let's assume I just check this particular image, and even you can just set the width and height, okay, of the element as well. So either you can just select this. So if you just select this, you see that this was the one which was created through Emmet, and this is the one which is created through this particular extension. So you see that this is just like a customized skeleton. Now let me do one thing. Let me just create another file. Let me just say like full test.html, and let me just click here, and this time if I just select this full HTML skeleton, you notice that it has given me the entire HTML skeleton, right? So this way we can still use HTML skeleton because this HTML skeleton gives me more options, right? So the next extension which we have is documents toolbar. So I'll just go to this extension manager and I'll just give documents toolbar, and you can see that it adds toolbar with the tabs of open documents on the top. So you can see that it is little similar to custom work. So it will also add a toolbar at the top. And if I just try to install this, let me just show you. And the reason why I disabled that custom work is because I just wanted to show this particular extension. So if I just close this, let me just go to debug and let me just reload it without any extension. So I just want to see like what is the exact issue. Okay, let me just reload with extensions. Yes, so you can see that now these files are shown at the top as well, right, in tabular form or in tabs, right? So you can either use custom work or you can just use this particular extension as well. Now let me just disable this extension as well because I don't want at this moment, because you have to note that you should not unnecessarily install so many extensions, because if you install so many extensions at the same time, it will slow your editor as well. So keep that in mind. Disable this. Okay, so let me just disable and close it. Now the next extension which I'm going to show you is interesting, and this is called as Lorem Ipsum. So I'll just search Lorem Ipsum. So let me just check for this. Yes, you can see here that this particular extension is there, right? So let me just click on install, and if you need more details about this, you can just click here and it will give you all the important information here, like how to install. So anyways, we have just installed it, and then how to use Lorem Ipsum. You can just give lorem and then you have to give Control Shift L, or suppose if you want to create some 200 words, then you have to give lorem underscore wrap and then 200. So in this case, if it is 40 words, then the command is lorem underscore wrap 40, right? So say we have a body tag, and then inside that, say we have p tag, and let's say lorem. I just give tab. You see that it has automatically created this particular dummy text. Now the next extension we have is autosave files on Windows Blur. So what it will do is it will automatically save all your files which are currently open. So if I just click on automatically, I think the name is autosave, sorry, autosave files. Yeah, so you see that I have already installed this particular extension, right? At this moment I don't want to show this extension because this is very easy, so it will just save all the open files automatically, right? So the next important extension we have is quick docs.js. Okay, so if I just click on here and I'll just give quick docs.js, you see that this is the particular extension. So as the name suggests, it will give you inline short documentation for JavaScript functions, or if you are working on jQuery, Node.js, or any other React.js functions. Okay, if you're working on JavaScript and you are just a beginner, or say you just need some short documentation for any JavaScript function, then you can just install this particular extension as well. And the next extension we have is CSLint. So this particular extension adds the CSS linting mechanism to your brackets editor. So basically what happens is the brackets code editor has linting mechanism in itself, and if you use this particular extension, then it will use the linting feature of the brackets code editor itself. Okay, and if there are any warnings or if there are any issues with your file, it will display that in the file itself. So let us see how we can do that. So first let us just install this extension. Let me just close it. And suppose if I just come to my CSS file, now you see here that it says that it requires all gradient definitions, that is for Firefox, WebKit, and then Opera. So if you just add all these vendor prefixes, this will be gone. So at this moment I can just ignore this error and say if I have added some unknown codes, for example, let me add something like this, and if I just save it, you notice that it is showing me parsing errors, and it says expected lbrace at line number 7, right? So this is the particular error it is talking about. If I just remove it, you see that that particular error is gone. So if you want, you can install this plugin as well, and let's continue further. And now the next extension which we will be discussing about is brackets tree icons. So if I just go to my brackets extension manager, and let me just type here brackets tree icons. So this is the extension which I'm talking about, and let me just install it. So basically what it will do is it will also add icons for your files or folders. Okay, so it is like an alternative to brackets icons. So let me just install it, and let's wait until it is installed. So yes, installation is successful. Let's close it. And now first let me just do a refresh. So I'll just refresh my brackets code editor. So you can see here that icons are all messed up. It is because we have installed brackets icons as well as brackets tree icons. So first let me just disable brackets icons so that I can just show you brackets tree icons. So let me just come here and I'll just disable this brackets icons, and let me just close it. it will automatically refresh the brackets code editor, and you can see here that now once we have brackets tray icons, now the icons looks little different. And if I just move to view, and here we have an option of grayscale icons. Okay, if I just click here, you see that these icons are now in gray color. And if I just disable it back, so if I just disable it, you see that now it is on some different colors, right? So if you like brackets icons, then you can use that particular extension. And if you don't like that particular extension, you can use brackets tray icons. Now let's discuss the next extension, which is to do extension. So if I just go to my extension manager and let's search here to do. So we have simple to do, and we have to do, and we have some other extension as well. But I really like this to do extension out of these 4 extensions. So I'll just install this. So basically what it is going to do is it will display all the comments. For example, it will display all the to do comments, or if you have any note or fix me or any future changes, it will display all those. So let's see how we can use it. So I'll just close it. And say for example I'm in this CSS file, and for example let's say that I have added a comment here like to do, and let me just close it also. Now you see that we have an icon here, and this is for to do. So if I just click on this icon, okay, ideally it should work. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me just refresh this brackets code editor. And now I have added a to do here, right? Now if I just click here, let me just click on this particular to do, and you see that it is giving me all the options. For example, this is the to do list here. So if I have multiple to do list, for example, let me just add a to do here. Let's say I add this time, let's add a note. Okay, so if I just add a note here, you see that it will just show this note as well. And apart from note, you can see here it is giving the count of the to do. For example, if you have a task, that to do task, so if you have one to do, it is showing the count as 1. If you have one note, the count is 1. And let's say that I have another here. For example, let's say like fix me, and say I've written something wrong here, like color equal to something like this, right? And let me just save it. And you see that this particular fix me is also shown here, right? So in this particular area, it shows all these to-dos, notes, fix me's. If you want any changes or future, for example, let me just try here like future. Okay, and you see that as soon as I save this, it is showing this future as well. Now what I can also do is say this particular to do, say I have done the changes or I have completed this task, then I can just put a cross here. So if I just give X here and let me just save it, you see that that particular to do is gone from here. Again, for note also, if I just put X or cross mark, you see that it is gone. Similarly, you can try with fix me and future. So it will display all the changes or to do changes or future changes while you are actually working on the code. Now the next extension which I want to refer is color hints. So I'll just search here color hints. Let me just wait. Okay, so color hints. So this extension basically provides the hinting for the color names. Let me just install it and I'll just close it out. Now suppose I want to use a color. For example, say I'm into this particular file, right? That is style.css. Say I have just used a color code. For example, let's just delete it and just write like FFFFFF, and let me just save it. So this is white color, right? You can see here, and here also if you just hover, right, it will just show the color, right? So it is white color. Now suppose in future if you want to use the same hexadecimal colors, now what happens is if you're working on a big project and you're using a lot of colors in your files, right? say you're using a red color, or you're using a blue color, or you're using any other hexadecimal color, right? Then if you want to reuse that particular color, then this plugin is too good. So what I mean is, suppose I want to add color option again. So if I just say, for example, let's say background, so let's say background color, and let me just give hash, then you see that automatically it is giving me the option of FFF, right? So basically all the hexadecimal colors which we have previously used in the file, it will show in the drop down. So if I just use here, say FFF, or let's do one thing, let's just use the color for silver. For example, let's use C0, C0, C0. So this is for silver, and I think it is little difficult for you to see the actual visuals of this color. So let's change it to something like Indian red. So for Indian red, it is like CD5C, 5C. So this is Indian red. Now again, if I want to use any color property, so if I just use color, and if I just give here hash, you see that it is giving me all the hexadecimal values of the colors which we have previously used in this particular file. So if we have 100 colors, it is very easy for me to pick the colors from this file if we have installed this particular plugin. So I can just select this particular color. For example, if I just select this, and you see that it makes my life a lot easier. Now the next extension we have is brackets snippets by EDC, and this is also a very good extension, and personally I like it so much. So I'll just search brackets snippets. I think spelling is wrong here, snippets, right? And you see that you have a lot of snippets. For example, you have RCH Bootstrap for snippets and others, right? So basically I am interested into bracket snippets by EDC. So otherwise, let me just type here by EDC, and you see that this particular extension is present, right? So what it does is, if some of you are working on Sublime Text and you want that particular behavior to come to your brackets code editor, then you can use this particular extension. So it will use the most common or most used snippets in your particular library, and you can reuse it. For example, let me just show you. So if I just install this particular extension, and it is quite useful because we can use the same code. So for example, say I'm in an HTML file, for example, let's say like fulltest.html, and this particular icon is for brackets snippets. So if I just click here on this particular extension, let me just drag it, and you see that we have all these snippets here which are automatically present this side. Okay, for JavaScript these are the snippets, and for HTML also we will be having snippets. So let me just click on this library. Okay, if I just click on this library and say I want this particular snippet, so if I just click on this add button, this plus symbol, you see that this particular snippet is now present this side. So first we have to include all those snippets from the library in our local environment. So once it comes here, we can use this particular snippet. Now this is an HTML snippet, right? So let me just come to HTML, and first let me just close this to do. And what I'll do is, say for example I want to use this a tag, right? A snippet. So if I just type a, you see that automatically it gives me an option to create an anchor tag. So if I just click here, you see that this particular tag is from this particular snippet, right? Now let's try some other snippet. For example, let's try this doc type. Okay, so if I just click here on this plus symbol, now this doc type is now present. So it shows boilerplate HTML. Now first let me just delete all these, and I'll just type here doc, and you see that even if I just type doc, automatically it gives me this particular snippet, right? So if I just click on this, it will give me the entire skeleton of HTML, right? Similarly, if you want to add Google Analytics in your code, you can just use this snippets, right? So there are a lot of snippets. You can see that for images you have this snippet, for link tag you have this particular snippet and all, right? Now please note that it is not only limited for HTML. In fact, you can use this snippet for CSS also. So for example, say if you want to use box shadow or flex, then you can use this. For example, if I just click here on box shadow, you see that we have this box, right? So if I just go to CSS, if I just type, for example, box, you see that automatically it gives me this particular snippet, right? And let me just save it first, and let me just come back. And for JavaScript also, it has a lot of snippets for vanilla JavaScript and Angular JavaScript. So you can see here for CSS, as of now I have added one. For HTML I have added two. So you can also remove any particular snippet here. So if I just click on this particular cross mark here, it asks for your confirmation, and if you just confirm it, it will just remove it from here. Now if I just come back here, for example, let's say I am into full test.html, and now if you just notice, if I just give doc type, you notice it does not give any option because we have already removed this particular snippet from our local, right? Now but if I just use a, you see that it gives me anchor tag, right? So it is necessary to add the particular snippet to your local before you have to use it, right? So at this moment we have snippets for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and even PHP. So for PHP it has a lot of snippets, so please go ahead and use this brackets snippets by EDC. It will help you to code faster and easier. So let's jump right into it and see more of brackets extension. So I've just come to this brackets extension manager, and the next extension which I'll be talking about is SFTP upload. So I'll just search for SFTP upload, and basically what this particular piece of tool does is it will upload your files to the server. You can use tools like FileZilla. Those are very good tools, but if you don't want to use FileZilla and if you want to upload your file directly from the brackets code editor to the server, then you can use this extension. And before you use this tool, you have to make sure that you have the client FTP details, right? So basically you can use this tool. So if I just click on this more info button, and you can see all the details about this particular tool. So basically I like FileZilla to upload the file, so I'm not going to show the uses of this particular extension, but you can just see the details about this particular extension here, right? So it will just upload your file from brackets code editor itself. Now let's talk about another cool extension. Okay, so the next extension is Bootstrap skeleton. Okay, so let me just search here Bootstrap skeleton, and I'll just install this. So it will just create a Bootstrap skeleton. So let me just close it, and suppose I have a file here. Let me do one thing. I'll just create a file here. So what I'll do is I'll just create a file here. Okay, so I'll just give here bootstrap.html. So I've just created this file here, and what I'll do is I'll just create the skeleton of Bootstrap using this particular plugin or extension, right? We have to go to edit, and in edit we have an option of new Bootstrap document. So if I just click here, you see that by default it creates the Bootstrap document here, right? So this is the basic template of Bootstrap document, right? Now the next extension which we will be looking is Markdown preview. Now let me just go to extension manager, and I'll just search for Markdown preview. So basically, if you don't know about Markdown, so Markdown is a lightweight markup language. It is simply like an HTML language, but it is lightweight language. Okay, and it has some basic syntax using which you can create some readme documents, or you can create some documents in forums or some blog post. So basically you can just try to create some headings or some paragraph with a list, then you have an ordered list, then ordered list, and then you have some horizontal rules, right? And then block of code. So the markdown document ends with .md extension or .markdown, and you can easily convert this markdown document into HTML or XHTML as well. What I'm going to do is I'll just use this particular extension, and what it is going to do is it will just show you the live preview of the document. So let me just install it. We just close it. So let me just create a new file here, and I'll just give the name as something like test.md. So this is the markdown document, and I'll just close it at this point of time. So this snippets manager is not required at this moment. Now once you install this plugin, you will see an icon here at the right with M and then downward arrow. So this particular icon is for markdown preview. So if I just click on this particular icon, so you see that it has opened a particular area here. Okay, so actually this is like a live preview. So if I just write anything here, for example, hi tutorial brain, you see that it will show that particular text in this live preview as well, right? Now let me just delete it. And some of you might not be aware about markdown files. So basically markdown files has some syntax. For example, if you just write, for example, let's say I'll just write heading, okay, or say header 1. So you see that it is showing in browser as heading 1. And say if I just write here like header 2, so you see that it is heading 1 in HTML. In HTML it is header 2, right? Similarly, if I just write like header 3, it will create a header 3, right? Similarly, you can just create some paragraphs, or you can just make a word bold or italic, and you can perform a lot of options here. So let's start another paragraph. So if I just say like another paragraph, let me just pull it off. Okay, so you see that whatever you have written in this line, it will automatically come in the next paragraph, right? And say you want to just make this particular word as italic, so you can just make it as italic as well. What basically you have to do is you have to give a star here and star at the end, and you notice that now this word is italic. Similarly, you can make a word bold as well. So you can just say like I am bold. Okay, and to make the word bold as bold, what you have to do is you have to give this particular symbol, and you notice that this particular word is bold now, right? Now we can also create a block code. For example, for block code you have to give a greater than symbol, and then I am a block code. Okay, so you see that now it has given this particular text or sentence in block code. Or you can write something here, for example, let's say together we can and we will learn brackets, right? So you see that this will be in one particular line itself. That means they can go to multiple paragraphs. Okay, now let us try to do something like let's try to create a list. So say I just want to create an unordered list. So let's say like star, and then let's say like list item 1. You just notice here that it creates list item 1. Again, if I just give star list item 2, you see that it creates list item 2 and so on. Now suppose if you want to create a nested item, so just give tab here, and if you just give here list item 2 1, then you see that it has given this particular list item in this particular list item 2, right? So it is like a nesting. So in this way, you can use this particular tool to just show the live preview of your Markdown document as well. Okay, let's continue further and see more extensions. So the next extension which I want to explain to you is color highlighter. So let me just try to open that. So in the search, let me just type color highlighter. So I'll just install this. So what basically it will do is it will just highlight the CSS colors. For example, if you're using background color or color, it will just highlight the color as well. So let me just show you what I exactly mean. So let me just close all this and say I'm in a CSS file. So for example, say I've just opened this CSS file, that is style.css. Now you notice here that this particular color is already highlighted with red color, right? Again, this is in pink color. So if I just type blue, it is already highlighted with blue color. So that means if I just go to extension manager, let me first disable this particular extension, that is color highlighter. So let me just search for highlighter. Let me just try to disable this, right? And I'll just reload my brackets. So what we are gonna see is once we don't use this particular extension, you'll see that the particular color, if we are using an hexadecimal color or an RGB value or a particular color name, so in those cases the color name will not be highlighted. But if I use this particular plugin, those colors will be highlighted. So let me just see here, and you see that this particular color is not highlighted, right? Again, this particular color is not highlighted. This is also not highlighted. Again, background color is not highlighted, right? So let me just enable it back. So I'll just go to install and let me just search for high. Okay, and then I'll just enable it, right? Just close it and let me just see whether it is enabled or not. So yes, it is enabled, but somehow it is not able to pick it up. That means we have to refresh this particular code editor again. So I'll just reload it with extensions, and now you see that these colors are all highlighted. So if you like this particular extension, you can go ahead and install it. And the next extension which I want to show you is called brackets WordPress hint. So basically, if I just go to my extension manager, if I just type here, so if I just type here, you see that this is the particular extension I am talking about. And if you work on WordPress, so it is one of the best extension for brackets, especially if you're working on WordPress. As of now, I'm not going to show you the entire extension by working on a particular WordPress site or WordPress coding. Okay, so basically I'll just show you the brief introduction of this. So if I just go to this more info, so it will lead to this particular link, right? That is brackets WP hint. And this is what I like most about this particular extension. They have beautifully explained all the details about this particular extension. Okay, so what this particular extension is all about and what are the type of hints it is including, okay, how you can sync the new function and all the other details, right? So it is also a very good extension if you're working for WordPress. And the next extension which we have is JS CSS minifier. Okay, so as you can see here that this particular extension will minify your JavaScript or CSS files. So if you want, you can just install this particular extension. As of now, I don't want to minify my JS and CSS files. So to get more info, you can just click on the more info link and just wait for this particular website to come, and you can just see here. So you just have to come here, and here the most important part is like you can either minify one file or you can minify the entire project as well. So the shortcut to minify one file is Control Alt M. So say if you want to minify one particular file, one particular CSS file or JavaScript file, then you can just give the shortcut as Control plus Alt plus M if you're working on Windows, and if you're working on Mac, then it will be Command Alt M, right? Or alternatively, you can also check the option as Minify on Save in the Edit menu. So let me do one thing. Let me just come here. Let me just try to install it as well. Okay. So basically, I just want to show you exactly how it will work. Yes, now it is completed. Now suppose I want to minify this particular style.css. So what I'll do is I'll just give Control Alt M. Okay, so you can just see here. So let me just give Control Alt and M. Or what you can do is I can just go to Edit, and here, so you can just see here that it has various options. For example, minify. So if I just click on minify, you see that this particular file is also having a minified version. You can see here. Okay, this is the minified version. And if I just come back here, if I just go to edit again, and let me show you. If I just click on minify project, so you see that for all the JavaScript and CSS file, it is creating a minified version as well. So this is the JavaScript file. Since it was empty, so it did not create any content. But if it is a perfect JavaScript file with all the codes present there, it will be minified as well, right? And again, the other option here is minify on save. So for example, say I don't have this file. Let me just try to delete this file. Okay, I'll just delete this file. Now suppose I have done any changes, and if I just click on this minify on save, so if I just save this file, you see that I have just given Control S. Now it has created this minified version of the file. So this way you can also use this particular extension. Now another extension we have is called brackets file icons. So we have already seen couple of extension for brackets icons, and this is another one. So brackets file icons. Okay, I think there is some spelling mistake. Okay, no, this is the extension. Okay, it will just insert an icon before each of the files. So I'm not going to install this icon, but if you like this particular icon, you can just install it in your code editor. The next is brackets color picker. So let me just give brackets color picker. So if I just install this, basically what it will do is it will just create a color palette in your code editor. What I mean is, say I have this particular extension, right? Now say I'm in this particular file, that is style.css. Now if I just type, say here again, if I just type, say if I just type color, you notice that it has given a particular color palette. Okay, so say I want to select this particular color, I can just click here, and you notice that this particular color is selected, right? Similarly, let's say if I just give background, and let me just give color, and let me just select this time this particular color. For example, let's say this particular color. Okay, so if I just select this particular color, you see that I can easily select a particular color from the color palette. Now the next extension which I want to show you is for PHP. Okay, so the extension name is quick docs PHP. So this particular extension is a very good extension for PHP. What it will do is basically it will provide the inline documentation for PHP syntax, or if you have any summary, or if you're using any function. So let me just show you what I mean. Say, let me do one thing. I'll just create a PHP file. Okay, so let me just name it as index.php, and let me just do one thing. Okay, let me just copy this code, and I'll just paste it here, and let me just do one thing. So what I want to do now is I just want to add a PHP code here. So let me just give here PHP, and let me just try to end it. And in between, what I want to do is I'll just give like echo, and let's give like date 1. Okay, I just want to print the date, so let me just close it and just save it. And suppose I don't know about this function date, so if I have installed this particular plugin, then I can just give control K here. Okay, so if I just bring my cursor on top of this particular function, and if I just press control K, you see that it gives the documentation about this particular function. Okay, so you can see that it has given me all the details like string date, and it will accept this particular argument, right, and what it will return. So I know that it will return basically the date today. So it can be, for example, if I just say like date, it will give me the day of this particular day. So suppose today is Thursday or Friday, whatever it is, so it will just print that particular date. So you can use this plugin as well. Now the next plugin which I want to show you is auto save every edit. And what it will basically do is it will save your code changes as soon as you will do it. So if I just install this particular plugin, what it does is it will be having a fixed time frame. After that, it will automatically save your code changes. Let me just close this and say if you're working on this particular file and say you have done some changes, and first we have to enable this particular autosave option first. So we have to go to edit, and I think there will be option here. I think, sorry, it will be under this file. So you have to just enable this autosave, and this 400 millisecond, it is just by default. You can even change that by going to preference file, right? So at this moment I'll just enable it, and you just notice, say if I just do any changes, for example, if I just open this document and if I just add something, say for example p hello, you notice that automatically this file is saved. Okay, so if I just add dot dot dot, and you see that it is automatically saved, right? So this is also a very good plugin. We are gonna see some more extensions, so let's go to extension manager. And the next extension which I'm going to talk about is special HTML characters. All right, so I'll just type here special HTML characters, and you see that this is the particular plugin, right? I'll just click on install, and let us just wait for this particular install. Meanwhile, what it does is basically, so what happens is, like, sometimes say you want to insert a copyright image or a copyright text or a trademark logo, right? So what I'm going to do is just close it, and I'll just show you. Suppose first let me just delete this. This is not required because we were using something, and for that I had used this particular option. So what I'll do is, say I have a p tag here, and let me just add a copyright symbol. Normally you have to just figure out that what is the exact HTML entity for this particular copyright symbol. Now if you're using this particular extension, what you can do is you can just go to edit, and once you have installed the plugin, you'll see an option here. I think it should show an option where it should show like special HTML characters. So let me just come down. Yeah, you can see here, this is the option, that is special HTML character, and the shortcut is Alt C. Okay, so you can see that we can select anything from here. So in this case, if I just want the copyright symbol, if I just click here, you see that it will give me the equivalent HTML entity here. Okay, so it is this particular symbol, right? And suppose if I want to copy something else, for example, if I just give Alt C in my keyboard, so let's say I want to copy this particular symbol, okay, that is square root. I can just give this, or if I just give Alt C again, let me try to copy something different this time. Let's try to give this particular sign. Okay, so this is called cedilla accent, okay, in French. So let me just save it, or what I can do is I'll just click on this particular live preview option. So you see that this particular at the copyright symbol, then we have text symbol, and we have the cedilla accent, right? So this is also a very good plugin. And in fact, when you're working on actual project, this type of plugin helps a lot, because normally if you don't know about this HTML entities, we end up searching them in Google. And the next plugin which I want to suggest is Fun Docker. So I'll just search here Fun Docker. Okay, so basically if you are working on a PHP file or a JavaScript file, and if you want to give a particular annotation, or if you want to generate annotation, then you can use this particular extension. Okay, so for some reason Fun Docker, it just, okay, it is Funk Docker. Okay, not Fun Docker, sorry for that. And you can see here, if I just click on this more info, you'll be able to know more. So basically if you want to use some annotations, and definitely if you are working on a client project, definitely you want to annotate something on PHP or JavaScript file most of the time. Okay, so in that case you can just use this particular plugin. So you can see that this is the particular, I mean, naturally you'll write like this, right? You have to just write everything, but with this particular shortcut you can just use this particular plugin, and then it will generate annotation for you. So at this moment I don't want to create any PHP or JavaScript file. When we will be going through our PHP section of brackets, then I'll show you the usage of this plugin. So at this moment we will just move on. And the next plugin which we have is HTML wrapper. Okay, so let me just open this and I'll just show you HTML wrapper. So what it basically does is it will format your UL or OL or your nav or your select tags. Let me just show you also. So if I just click this particular button, this plugin is installed. And what happens is, suppose you have a UL tag. So if I just give UL and say I have 3-4 list items here, say ABC, then I'll just give something like this. Then if I just give like this, and suppose if I just select all these text, for example ABC, and then this particular text and this text, and if I just give right click and if I just give here HTML wrapper, you see that all these options or items are now inside this particular list item, right? So same can be done. Okay, let me just go to another line and say I have this OL tag. Okay, and let me just give here, for example, let's say HTML, let's say CSS, let's say Java or JavaScript would be better. And let me just select this and I'll just select this option HTML wrapper, and you see that all these options are now in list items, right? So this is also a good plugin, but in case if you want this, then only you install it, otherwise it's not that much useful. Okay, now let's go to our next plugin, and the next extension which I want to show you is CSS Fire. So I'll just go to this particular extension manager and let me just search here CSS Fire. Okay, so it is basically CSS FIER, not CSS FIRE. Basically what this particular extension will do is, suppose if you have written an HTML code, so in terms of equivalent CSS, how your code should be, it will just create a skeleton of that. Similarly, if you're using SCSS or less files also, it will work on that. For example, now first let me just install this plugin. Now what I'll do is, suppose I'm in index.html, and for example let me just first copy this p tag, and if I just go to style.css, if I just give paste, you see that automatically it created this CSS equivalent code for p tag. So basically it is not the exact code, but it will give you a basic layout. Okay, so if I just go to index.html, say I have something like, say, or I think this file is not very big, let me take a file which is little big. For example, let me just go to bootstrap.html. It is little big, and what I'll do is I'll just select this nav bar. So if I just give Control C, okay, let me just copy it, and say if I have a CSS file, equivalent CSS file for this particular bootstrap.html, so let me just create one file. So what I'll do is I'll just give control N here, and I'll just save this file first. So let me just give control S, and I'll just, for example, I'll just give bootstrap.css. I'll just save this file as this particular CSS file, and if I just give paste, you notice that automatically it has given me layout of this CSS file. I mean, for this particular tag, these are sort of equivalent CSS codes. Okay, so this is not an exact code, but it has just given me an overview of that. Okay, so if I just go here and say if I want to create or add some CSS template for this particular HTML, then let me just go to this file. I think, sorry, not this file, this file. And if I just come here, if I just give Control V or paste, you see that automatically it has generated equivalent CSS code. So it might not be the exact code, but yes, it has just given me the skeleton so that I can proceed further easily. So this is also a very good plugin. If you want, you can use it. And the next plugin we have is for Bootstrap. Basically, we have already seen some extensions for Bootstrap, and my main aim is to show you multiple extensions so that if you do not like a particular extension, you have an alternative. Okay, so if I just give here Bootstrap, and this extension name is starter template. Okay, so this particular extension, you can see here that in definition itself they have given like this creates a new HTML file with minimal bootstrap template. Okay, so if I just click here to install this particular extension, in file you can see that the option name is new bootstrap template. So first what I'll do is I'll just create a test file here. So let me just give here, for example, bootstrap1.html. Okay, and let me just click on this new bootstrap template, and you can see that let me just select the same name, bootstrap 1. Yes, bootstrap 1 itself, we'll just name it. Okay, let me just close this file, and if I just come here, so you see that it has already given me this particular template. Now if you don't like this template, you can still have the option to go to edit, and then you can use this particular bootstrap document. Okay, so for example, say if I just delete this, if you just click here and if you just click on this particular option, so this is the bootstrap template. Okay, and if I just click here and let me just delete it here, if I just use this particular option, that is new bootstrap template, you see that both are almost same, but there are some other differences. For example, here we have this core JavaScript file. In this bootstrap one, you don't have those bootstrap files like that. So it all depends on your particular requirement. So if you want this particular plugin, you can use this. Otherwise you can use the previous bootstrap plugin or extension which we have already seen. All right, now let's check the next plugin out here, and we have the next plugin is ACB Bootstrap Snippets. So you can see this particular author, that is Antonio Carlos Barbosa. Okay, what this particular extension does is it has a beautiful collection of snippets which is for Bootstrap, and if you're working on Bootstrap project, then it is a very good plugin. So I'll just install this extension, and let me just close it, and let me just show you how it works. So suppose you're working on this particular file, that is bootstrap1.html, and say if you are here, if you just type bs3, you see that automatically it has given you a lot of options, right? So you have a lot of options here. Okay, suppose if you click this, you get this particular code for this inset, so it will add a round type of inset. And suppose if I want to create a button, I can just give here bs3 btn, or I think it should be button. So it is bs3 button, and if I just save this and if I just click on this live preview option, just wait, and you see here that it is loading now, and you see that this is the button which we have just now created. So now let's try to add a carousel. So if I just give bs3c, you see that the first option itself is carousel. Okay, so if I just save it, you see that if I would be having some slides, it will show those slides here in form of carousel. Now let's try to add some forms, for example bs3 form, and you see that we have a lot of options, for example horizontal form or form inline or form label, right? So at this moment let me just click on this horizontal form. I just save it, and you see that this particular form here, right, with this title, if I just change the name of the title, for example let's say like submit the details, let me just save it. Now since this particular form is not dynamic, okay, so this is just a layout, that is the reason it is showing like cannot post this particular form, right? But if you will be having the complete layout of the form, it will be working exactly as how you will be coding it from the scratch, right? So this is also a very good plugin. Let's do one thing, we can use another plugin here for forms. Okay, so basically the previous plugin, I mean the acb bootstrap plugin, is only for bootstrap snippets, and since I was just showing you forms, I just remember a plugin called quick form. Okay, so if you just install this plugin, so you can see that it inserts form elements quickly based on quick form tool. So if you're using this particular plugin, and suppose you're creating a form and you want to create some buttons or checkboxes or radio button or some other input fields, then if you just use this extension, it will help you a lot. So let me just show you. So I'll just install this plugin, and basically see, I'll just close it, and there are two plugins, one is quick form and other one is quick form tool. So basically this plugin, that is quick form tool, was more popular, and for some reason this author, that is Mohammed Yaghobi, he stopped working on this particular extension, I mean he stopped maintaining this, and instead he created a new extension which is quick form. Okay, and that's the reason I have installed this particular extension. If you want, you can install the previous extension which he created, but as he has stopped maintaining this extension, so it is better you can install this extension. Okay, that is quick form. So let me just close it. Okay, and let me just go to this I think it should be there in edit. Okay, it is not showing this particular extension till now. Let's do one thing. Okay, I'll just reload. Okay, let me just save the changes. Okay, as this moment I'll just save it with this particular name. Let me do one thing first. Let me just create a form first. Okay, so I'll just give you a bs3 form, and inside this, say I just want to create some element. Okay, so if I just go here, you see that we have this particular option, that is quick form. Once I click here, you'll get various options. For example, say if I just click on this particular button, automatically it inserted this code for this particular button. So if you just open this here, for example, so let's click here. For example, if I just click here, you see that it has created a link. Similarly, if I just come here and let me just click a radio button. So if I just click here, you see that we have radio button. Similarly, if I just come here and say I want to insert an audio, for that this is the code. So you see that it has lot of ways wherein you can create the input fields or fields. And if I just click the live preview, you see that we have all these options, right? So this is the radio button. So this is just one radio button. In fact, if you want to just have multiple radio buttons, you can just click there. So let me just do one thing otherwise. Okay, so I'll just create some radio button. So you see that by default it gives input type equals radio, name equals radio 1, right? So you can just give the name here. For example, you can just change the name, for example status, and you can just give the value also. For example, value as say bachelor, and I can just mark it as checked for default. Okay, or instead of that you can just give your single. That looks better. Okay, and let's give the name as single. Let me just close it. So you see that if I just give here like save button, if I just click Control S, if I just go to this particular option, you see that it has given me this option, right? Similarly, if I just want to create another field, so what I'll do is I'll just click here and automatically it has given me the option. Now what I'll do is first let me just copy this, okay, so that I don't have to repeat everything. And this time, okay, let me just give it like married, and here let me just give an option as married. Okay, let me just save it, or even if we don't save it, since we already have a plugin which will automatically save after every edit. So if I just go to this particular uh, form, now you see that it is showing here. So just to be very clear, what I'll do is, let me just break here. Okay, now if I just show you here, you see that we have these options, right? And you can select any of these. So this is how you can use this particular plugin. Just to continue further, we will just see the remaining list of bracket extension, and the first one is paste and indent. Okay, so I'll just show you what is that. So if I just search here paste and indent, you see that this particular extension is there, right? If you just install it, for example, let me just install this. So what happens is if I try to paste a particular code, it will automatically indent properly while pasting it. What I mean is, say I have a code. So let's go to say test.html, and suppose I have this code. Okay, so if this is not aligned properly, say if it is like this, and if I just copy it, say I have just copied it, and if I just want to paste it here, so what I'll do is, you see that if I just give right click, right, and if I just give paste, you see that it is automatically pasting in a correct format, right? Here this ending UL was at this particular position, but when I'm trying to paste it in some other location, you see that it is aligned properly, right? Now we have already seen a lot of extensions, so now I'm going to just show you a few other extensions as well which you can use it, but I'm not going to install those extensions because most of the important extensions we have already seen. Alright, so let's jump right in, and the next extension which I want you to see is display shortcuts. So this is the extension, and what it will do is it will just display the shortcuts at the bottom panel. So if you want to just see all the shortcuts via this plugin, you can just install it, but I don't use it. And the next extension we have is Node.js bindings. Okay, so this particular extension is also a very good extension in case if you're working on Node.js. So if you install this particular extension, then you can run all the Node.js scripts, for example all the npm commands within this particular bracket editor itself. The next plugin which I want to show you is I'll just give the name here as Popup menu. Okay, so you just see here, this is the extension which I'm talking about. So this particular extension, it will just give some extra menus or extra options, for example to cut a particular code or to paste or to toggle. Okay, so if you just want some extra options in your menus, then directly you can just install this particular plugin as well. And the next extension I want to show you is Lorem Pixel. So this particular extension will automatically generate the Lorem Pixel images. So this is a good extension. So I'll just show you also. So let me just install this. So let me just close this, and let's say I want to insert an image. Okay, so let me just insert an image here. So I'll just give img, and let me just give source, and let me just close it at this moment, or just give alt and sample image. me just close it. All right, and let me just bring my cursor here. And what I'll do is, you see that at this moment, I'll just click on this particular icon. So this particular icon is for Lorem Pixel. So if I just click here, you see that it gives me option to select an image from this particular location. Okay, this particular location. Now you can just customize the width and height. For example, if it is 400 by 200 by default, you can just change it. For example, let's make it as 400 by 295. Or let me just go to this themes, or let me just select abstract. So this is the particular URL, and you can just have a preview of the image as well. Okay, so this is how your image will look. If you just increase the image, you just see how the image will look. And let me just change, for example, let me just select, for example, cats. And so if I just do a preview, you see that this particular image, how it looks like. Now suppose this height, I feel like it is little less, so I can just increase the height. And suppose I want to reduce the width, I can just do it like this, so that I can just have a preview of the image. And this is one of the image. Now you can just copy it, or you can just insert at the caret position. So caret position means inside this particular inverted commas. So if I just click here, you see that this particular image is directly present from this particular extension, right? And if I just click my cursor here, you can also preview the image here, right? Because brackets has that particular option as well. And let me just do one thing. Let me just preview this particular image, how it looks like. Okay, so you can see that how this particular image looks like in a browser. So this particular extension is very good. And one other thing I just wanted to mention here is, say if I just delete this image, just delete this, and if I just come here and let me just select something, for example, sports, and let me just select grayscale. Okay, if I just select grayscale, and if I just give preview, just notice the difference. So it will be totally in black and white, it will not be colorful. If I just uncheck this, if I just give preview, you see that now the image is colorful. So let me just select this grayscale, and if I just click on insert, now if I just see this particular image, you see that how it looks like in the browser, right? So this is also a very good extension. The next extension we have is brackets synapse. So it is brackets synapse. So this will also do FTP from the local to the remote server. So if you want to use this plugin, you can just go ahead and use this. Then the next extension we have is Swatcher. So this is a very popular extension nowadays. And if you are using this plugin, then you can have a color palette from the less files, and you can also use Sass files as well. So this is also a good extension. There is an extension called Can I Use. So basically, most of you would be aware about this particular website, right? That is caniuse.com. So this particular website tells you whether you can use a particular tag or a particular code or a particular element or not, whether it is compatible with your particular browser. So this particular extension, it will also help you when you add this extension in your brackets. If you're working on HTML and say you're working on any tag or elements or attributes, and if you just want to confirm whether your browser is supporting that tag or element or that particular attribute, in that case, if you just use this plugin, it will be very helpful, and it will show you whether this tag or element or attribute is compatible with your browser or not. And the next extension is JS downloader. Okay, so this particular extension, as the name itself says, that it is for JavaScript downloader. So you can download any JavaScript libraries using this extension. And the next extension we have is JS beautifier. So beautifier, so this particular extension is there, and the name suggests that it beautifies the HTML, JavaScript and CSS code. So if you don't like beautify, you can use this as well. And the next extension is brackets color palette. Okay, this is also a good extension. I think somewhere the spelling is wrong. Yeah, it is brackets color palette. So if you install this extension, you would be having a palette wherein you can just choose your colors from the images or pictures, whatever you would be selecting. Now the next extension is white space normalizer. So I'll just search here white space normalizer. So if you just use this plugin, so what it will do is it will automatically trim all the white spaces, and not only the trailing white spaces, it will also trim the unnecessary white spaces which are created at the new line character, or sometimes it will convert all the tabs to spaces as well. So if you want, you can just use this plugin as well. And if you're working on regular expression, then a very good plugin is quick docs regex. Yes, so this particular plugin, that is quick docs regex. So this will just help you in case if you're working with regular expression and suppose you don't know a particular pattern, or you just want to understand about a particular pattern, then this plugin will be very helpful in that case. Personally, I have used this plugin as well because I used to work on regular expressions on a day-to-day basis, and this plugin helps me a lot. Okay, now the next extension which I want to show you is for WordPress lovers. It is brackets WordPress function hints. So I'll just click here, brackets WordPress function hints. So this is the plugin. So if you're working on WordPress, and if you want to know about a particular function which you have forgot, then you can use this particular plugin. Now another plugin we have here for HTML is HTML comment button. So this particular plugin, what it will do is it will simply allow you to add some HTML comments to a particular text, or if you want to remove an HTML comment, okay, from a text, then it will also help you. But what I would suggest is, like, it is better not to use this plugin if you're using Emmet. So Emmet is extremely powerful plugin which works on almost all the code editors, be it Atom or Sublime Text or Brackets or even Visual Studio Code, right? So if you're using Emmet extension, then it is not required to use this plugin. Then the next plugin I just want to show you is Export PDF. So it is Export PDF, and if you're using this plugin, you can simply export a file or a particular piece of file to a PDF file. And the next plugin for WordPress is brackets WordPress hooks hints. So again, if you're working for WordPress or if you're using WordPress, and if you want to see the hooks hinting or code hints for the hooks, so it is very useful when you're developing a plugin or a theme, right? So in that case, you can just use it. Okay, and the next extension which is popular is brackets working file tabs. So this particular extension, you can see that what it will do is, like, sometimes some of developer they prefer to work on a full screen. They don't like a small screen and the sidebar, right? So in that case, if you just use this plugin, right, so it will by default anyways, like, at the left side you will be getting the working files and all the other project related files you are getting in the left side, right? So if you don't want this particular layout, you can just use this plugin. Okay, so what it will do is it will just show that the files or working files in tabs, right? And then again, the next plugin we have is simple to do. Okay, simple, I think it is to do. Yes, so this particular plugin is also good, and it will just give you a to-do list. And if you want to add some to-do action, and if you want to, like, add something which can be done later, so if you just mark that particular code or just give a comment to the code before that, like it is a to-do list, right? So you can manage that at later point of time if you're using this plugin. Now the next plugin we have is zoomwheel. uh, Zoomwheel. Now, if you just see Zoomwheel, actually I have already installed it. So what it will do is, like, say sometimes what happens is, like, if you want to zoom the code, for example, let me first just close it. And by the way, let me just check it whether I have enabled it or disabled it. Okay, so let me just search zoom. So I can see that it is already enabled, right? Because it gives me option to disable. So it is already enabled. Now what happens is, If you want to zoom in or zoom out your code editor, first let me just close this. Okay. What is this? I think it is quick form, right? So let me just close it. And say if you want to zoom it, what happens is you just press control in your keyboard and just you have to move your cursor up or down, right? Like this. If you just bring the cursor down, or if you just move your cursor, you can just increase or decrease the font. So how it is possible? So what I've done is I have just installed this particular plugin. Now let me just show you. If I just disable this plugin, okay, let me just give zoom. Let me just disable it first, okay, and I'll just reload my brackets. Now if you see, if I just press control and if I just scroll up or down using my mouse, nothing happens. I'm not able to zoom in or zoom out. So again, if you just have to zoom in, you have to go to view and then you have an option here, right? Increase the font size or decrease the font size, control plus plus or control plus minus, or if you want to restore the file, it is control 0, right? But if I don't want to use these options, if I just want to use the control with the scrolling mouse, so I will just enable this particular extension and let me just wait for that. And it is, as we know, zoom wheel. Okay, let me just enable it. Just close this. And you see that if I just give control and if I just scroll my cursor, see that I'm able to zoom in, right? If I want to zoom out, I'll just scroll the cursor towards the bottom, right? So this is how this particular extension is very helpful. The next extension we have is super right click. So I'll just show you which particular extension I'm talking about. It is super right click. So this is the particular extension I'm talking about. So when you install this particular option, so you will get some extra options. So you can just do save all, or you can just have live preview, and you have undo, redo, everything you can have in this particular extension when you'll do the right click. So otherwise I'll just show you. First let me just do one thing. Okay, now if I just give right click, you see that we have these list of options, right? That is quick edit, quick docs, find all preferences, then we have basic commands like cut, copy, paste, and some other options based on the plugin which we have selected. Now if I just go to extension manager and if I just install this plugin, that is super right click, you just install it. And if I just give right click, you see that now I have a lot of other options, right? For example, fix line indentations, remove empty lines, toggle line comment, toggle block comment, live preview, and everything, right? Since live preview is already here, but there is an additional option here as well if you do right click. Okay, so if I just click here on live preview, you notice that live preview is starting. So this is also a very good plugin in case if you want more control on your right click. Then the next plugin I want to show you is editor config. Okay, so it is editor config. This is the particular plugin. So this is also a good plugin if you're working with different code editors with the same config file. Now the next plugin we have is W3C validation. So this is the plugin. So this plugin, what it will do is it will just show W3C validation support in bracket. So as we know that whenever we write an HTML code, if you just go to W3C validator, you can just give the address of your link, or you can just give your URL and you can check. For example, if I just give here say github.com, and if I just check, if I just click on check, you see that this particular validator will check this particular URL for any errors or warning. So it is giving some errors like bad value for this particular attribute and some other errors, right? So the same thing, what happens is like if you install this plugin, it will provide this W3C validation support to your brackets. The next extension which I want to show you is any template. So basically, if you just see the name itself, it says that if you want to add any template, for example, if you want to add HTML template or CSS template or JavaScript template or PHP template or even Python template, you can just use this particular extension to create a template for you. Now, the next extension is duplicate files and folders. Okay, So this extension, as the name suggests, it will duplicate the files or folders for you. So it will basically copy or duplicate or even move the file in your project. The next extension which I want to show you is CSS comb brackets. This extension also beautifies your CSS file. So we know that the best extension for beautifying the code or formatting the code is Beautify. But in case if your Beautify extension is not working, then you can install this particular extension. It will just organize the code, or it will just clean up the code, right? So if you like it, please install it. Now the next extension we have is lint all the things. Basically what this extension will do is it will just lint the entire project for you. So brackets already has a very good linting mechanism now. So again, this extension is also not that much useful, but if you really like this particular linting, then you can use it. Or if you are not liking the linting mechanism of inline brackets, then you can use this particular linting extension. So if you just install this also, you have to just go to view. Okay, once you install this, you have to just go to view, and then there will be an option for linting the whole project. Okay, so you can just use that option to lint the entire project. So at this moment I'm not going to show that, because I don't want to use this particular extension personally, and even I don't suggest this. But as you know that we are just discussing about all the important extensions, so I'm just showing you these extensions. If this can help you in any way, then I'd be very happy. So the next extension which I just want to show you is called ACB Tartan Background Image Picker. So basically, I'll just show you. It is like ACB Tartan background image. As the name suggests, you can just see here that it will pick an image pattern to use as a background, and it will also generate a CSS background at caret position. And the next extension just want to show you is WordPress generate salt. Okay, WordPress generate salts. Okay, now salting is very important in case if you want to secure your environment. Okay, and especially in WordPress, salting is also important. And if you're working on salting, then if you just use this plugin, it will help you a lot. So as of now, I don't want to install WordPress and show this particular extension working for you, but I just wanted to give a brief introduction. Like if you're working really hard on your salting process, then please use this extension. It will help you a lot. So that's it. We have seen most of the important extensions, and most of the important extensions I've explained in detail. And in case if you want me to add some more extensions, or if you have any ideas, or if you want to convey a message to me, please leave a comment. And if you just go to this particular link, that is tutorialbrain.com, text editor and brackets extension. So here you can just see the entire list of extensions. Okay, I have given all the list of extensions here. And if you find it difficult to search for this particular tutorial, then just go to tutorial brain. You just search for brackets extension. Okay, if you just come down, you'll just see here brackets tutorial. So you will be having the entire tutorial series about brackets here, and you can just click on this brackets towards your left. So you will see that all the extensions we have already listed here. All right, so thanks for joining, and I'll see you in next video lesson. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. I will try to answer it. So thanks for watching it. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Take care. Bye.